Okay, picture this. You're deep in meditation. The outside world completely fades away. Suddenly, your dark room is bathed in this brilliant golden light, and you see a magnificent, radiant Buddha hovering right in front of you. You feel totally overwhelmed with awe. I mean, you've done it, right? You've reached enlightenment. Well, hold on a second. What if I told you that, according to one of the most profound texts in Eastern philosophy, that beautiful, miraculous vision might actually be a spiritual landmine waiting to completely destroy your mental progress?
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating, highly specific map of the human mind found in the Shurangama Sutra. Think of this ancient text as the ultimate survival guide for advanced meditators. We're going to systematically analyze the 50 demonic states of cultivation mentioned in the sutras. And more importantly, we're going to explain exactly how to identify these deceptive traps and avoid falling victim to these deadly wrong views.
All right, let's start by defining what we're actually dealing with here. When the sutra talks about demonic states, it's super important to understand we are not talking about Hollywood monsters with horns and pitchforks. As the text explicitly points out, these phenomena are born entirely from the psychological interplay of our own minds. They're profound sensory, emotional, and cognitive illusions that pop up when our intense meditative focus clashes with our deep-seated mental habits. And they're incredibly dangerous precisely because they feel so real and so holy. They are quite literally the ultimate cognitive traps.
So here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the form skandha. Number 2, the feeling skandha. Number 3, the thinking skandha. And finally, number 4, the golden rule.
Let's jump right into section 1, the form skandha, breaking the boundaries of the senses. So as your physical body and environment start to blur in deep meditation, the sheer bizarre nature of these documented experiences really reveals itself. I mean, a meditator's focus can get so intense that they might suddenly see everything around them turn into pure gold and jewels. Or they might find they can effortlessly pull parasites right out of their own body without leaving a single wound. Sometimes, sitting in a pitch-black room, they suddenly get perfect daylight-level night vision. Some even feel totally numb, like their body is completely impervious to fire or blades. Now, what's the danger here? The practitioner thinks they've just gained magical powers, but the text aggressively warns us that these are just temporary physical byproducts of extreme mental concentration. They are absolutely not actual spiritual awakening.
And that brings us to the sutra's absolute golden rule, captured perfectly in this quote. If you do not think yourself a saint, it is a good state. If you consider it holy realization, you will fall to demons. Basically, if you just sit there and calmly observe these wild hallucinations without getting attached to them, it's actually a great sign that your meditation is working. But the very second you go on an ego trip and think, wow, I am a holy master, that is exactly when you spring the trap. This rule is our absolute compass for this entire journey.
Moving right along to section 2, the feeling skandha, the trap of emotional extremes.
So, once you break free of those physical illusions, you risk falling into some incredibly dangerous emotional traps. This perfectly illustrates just how violently the human mind can swing when the normal filters of reality are stripped away. The sutra highlights 3 specific emotional demons. First, infinite compassion. This is where a meditator gets so overwhelmed with pity that they'll look at a tiny mosquito and literally weep uncontrollably, just totally losing their meditative center. Second, infinite arrogance. Their ego balloons so massively they look down on everyone, claiming they're superior to the Buddhas, even going so far as to smash holy statues. And third is infinite joy. This is an unhinged, manic state where the practitioner thinks they've found ultimate freedom and just starts uncontrollably singing and dancing in the streets. These are not normal emotions, folks. They are explosive, obsessive hijackings of the mind.
But perhaps the absolute most insidious emotional trap mentioned is what's called the void demon. Here, a practitioner feels this profound sense of nothingness and falsely concludes, everything is empty. Therefore, cause and effect just don't exist anymore. This is a deadly wrong view. Using this fake realization of emptiness as an excuse, they completely abandon their moral compass. They start indulging in alcohol, eating meat, and engaging in massive amounts of lust and destructive behavior, dragging both themselves and anyone following them right off a cliff.
So, how on earth do you survive this emotional roller coaster? Well, we go right back to our compass. Even if you feel an overwhelming, earth-shattering wave of infinite love or a super profound realization of the void, if you do not claim it as a holy realization, it will naturally pass and you stay safe. let's keep moving, because if you fail this particular test, the next realm is where things get truly terrifying.
All right, Section 3, the thinking skanda, the danger of demonic possession.
Now we're getting into the realm where cognitive delusions actually open the door to external entities. The sutra gives us this chilling analogy. If the host is confused, the guest takes advantage. Now the host here is your meditating mind. As long as the host stays clear, unattached, and strictly observant, no outside force can touch you. But the second the host gets confused by secretly craving magic powers, or longevity, or spiritual shortcuts, well, you've just unlocked the front door and invited a guest, an external demon, to step right in and take the wheel.
The text actually lays out the exact step-by-step mechanics of how this disaster unfolds. Step 1. The meditator, deep in a trance, lets a secret, greedy thought form. Maybe they crave to know the future, or they really want magical abilities. Step 2. An external heavenly demon, sensing that specific vibration of greed, flies in and possesses either the meditator themselves or someone nearby. Step 3. The possessed person starts preaching highly convincing but fundamentally flawed, false dharma. They might perform magic tricks or predict the future, but ultimately they lead their devoted followers straight into moral ruin and karmic disaster.
So, how do you spot a teacher who's been hijacked by a guest? Well, the sutra gives us the ultimate litmus test to identify and avoid these dangerous wrong views. A true practitioner maintains incredibly pure moral precepts, they act with hidden virtue, and they absolutely never go around boasting that they're a fully enlightened Buddha. A possessed victim, on the other hand, they might perform incredible miracles, but they will inevitably break the moral rules. The text explicitly warns that possessed, false teachers will secretly engage in lust, they'll praise greed, and they will constantly brag to their followers that they are a reincarnated Buddha or a living bodhisattva. Bottom line, if you see broken precepts being disguised as enlightened behavior, run the other way. Which brings us to our final section, number 4, the secret to defeating demons, mastering the host within.
Okay, so we've walked through this terrifying sensory, emotional, and cognitive minefield waiting for the advanced meditator. So what's the big secret to defeating these demons and reaching true awakening safely? The profound truth revealed here is that everything you experience, no matter how holy the Buddha appears, no matter how terrifying the demon seems, and no matter how real those magical powers feel, they are all ultimately born from your own false thoughts. They happen because we fail to recognize our original, pristine mind. They're literally just shadows dancing on the wall of your own consciousness, entirely fueled by your own hidden desires and attachments.
And that brings us back to our golden rule for one last look. This simple sentence is your absolute impenetrable shield against all 50 demonic states. By maintaining the awareness that whatever pops up in your mind is just a passing state, and by flat out refusing to attach your ego to it, the illusions just naturally dissolve. The demons completely lose their power when you simply refuse to play their game of spiritual pride. We've unpacked an incredibly brilliant psychological map today, revealing that the absolute greatest threats to our spiritual and mental growth aren't hiding in some dark corner of the world. They're hiding right in our own unexamined desires. To conquer the demons of the universe, you really only need to master the host within. So the next time you find yourself totally captivated by an incredible experience or a massive wave of emotion, ask yourself, will you calmly observe the illusion? Or are you going to hand over the keys and let the guest take control? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.